If you, like me, find yourself sometimes pining over the abandoned dreams of your younger self, and you're wondering whether it might be too late to go after something that you've always wanted. If that is you, you're in the right place. I want to prove to you, and even more importantly, to myself, that it's never too late to chase your dreams. Look, if you had asked me 5 years ago what the rest of my working life was going to look like, I'd have told you that I'd be employed in television post-production until I retired, and then I'd take my union pension and ride off into the sunset. That's why in February 2020, I signed another 2-year contract to stay at the post-production facility where I'd been working for almost a decade. I was happy there. I was happy doing what I was doing. At least I had convinced myself that I was. And then COVID came. And almost everybody I worked with got laid off, but I didn't. Now, I should have felt lucky that I was still employed. But honestly, I was secretly, intensely jealous of everyone else's time off. As I watched people on social media making banana bread and going on long hikes and working out in their backyards, I started to get a little bit irritated. I knew that if I had that kind of time on my hands, I'd have been writing a movie or making an album or something awesome like that. Certainly something more awesome than making banana bread. Eventually, though, powers that be figured out how to restart production, and everybody came back to work, and the bake-off ended. But then, because the pandemic was dragging on way longer than anybody had anticipated, they had to figure out a way to get us working from home. It was a revelation. Once I started working at home, the freedom it allowed me was intoxicating. And it made me really start to resent work, because now it was interfering with all my newfound free time. I wasn't stuck at a facility all day, so if my session ended early, I was already home. I could do whatever I wanted. So I wrote a screenplay and started making an album. I was having my own little creative renaissance. Then, of course, management announced that they were closing the facility I worked at. It was the only union facility in the company. Now, they offered me another non-union job, but I didn't want that. I wanted a union job mainly because of the benefits I was talking about earlier, like that pension. So I took a job at a much smaller union facility. And essentially, since I was still working remotely, it was pretty much a status quo situation. Things didn't really change for me. I even worked on one of the same shows that I'd been working on at the other place. But then my mother got sick. Really sick. And then she died. And I started to feel like I was wasting my time and quickly running out of it. And then the WGA and SAG strikes happened, and I actually got laid off. Now, even though I didn't have any income, I had all of my time back. I started making YouTube videos. Then in October of last year, I decided that I was going to make a short horror film all by myself for Halloween. And I did it. Even though I rushed to get it done by Halloween, which left me a little frustrated with the final product, I was still really proud of what I was able to do by myself with limited time and resources. It was a powerful reminder of why I got into this business in the first place. I moved to LA because I wanted to make my own movies. And even though I had been a professional editor for almost 2 decades, I felt very far away from that dream. Making that short film by myself reminded me of that. And soon after I finished it, the strikes ended and I went back to work. And I stopped making YouTube videos. Then at the end of last year, the smaller facility I was working at closed also. The slowdown from strikes was too much. I couldn't keep it going. So I got a little freelance work finishing up the shows I'd been working on there. But then my father's health started failing. And then he also died beginning of the year. And it was less than a year after my mother had died. And then the shows I was working on ended, and I was unemployed. Unemployed with very few prospects in an industry that was from the prolonged work stoppages. I had no idea what I was going to do, but once again, I had my time back. And one thing was clear. Time is running out for me, for all of us. So I've decided to do what I came to LA in 1999 to do. My new job title is filmmaker. And YouTube seems like the perfect place to start. Stay tuned.